Okay, so here we are. I have completed yet another successful TR. It's gonna turn me around. It's awkward. Anyway, so this will be my second halfling life, and I thought I'd just do a quick breakdown of the Alchemist build I was using, um, just as sort of a hopefully you can't hear everybody making incredibly a lot of noise in the background because of course they are. Um, anyway, so um, just a quick breakdown of the Alchemist build. There's nothing exciting or new about an Alchemist Bombardier build. It's all very straightforward stuff. I'm going to have to be turning around again. Let's see if we can get this to work. There we go. So I'm not sure if you can see all my stats. I'm going to break this down like this. So 10 base strength, 12 base dexterity, 16 base constitution. This is actually 25. So it was max 18 possible starting intelligence. Base 10 wisdom, and base 10 charisma. Of course, you can see here in the effects, I don't know how small it will be when you see it on screen, but it is a +8 inherent tome for everything that I got. I bought them when they were on sale. So that's pretty straightforward stuff. All my level up points, of course, go into intelligence. Spells are pretty straightforward. You'll see that here I don't actually have another 6th level spell. What happens when you do your epic TR, it makes you level up all over again. And so I actually deliberately leave some of them blank so that I can pick spells as I'm leveling up. Otherwise, it gets a little bit wonky. But the spells are, of course, again, pretty straightforward. For now, I've got Feathers Extract, Acid Smash, use that all the time, and Vial of Flame, Elemental Skin, Stiffened Skin for level 1, excuse me, Curative Admixture, Augment Armor, Bottle Spell Boost, Glue Bomb, Greater Venom Vial. For level 3, we have Greater Liquid Courage, Flame Concentration, Displacement Draft, Melt Lock, which is awesome, Flash Freeze, which is even more awesome. For level 4, we have Smoke Bomb, Cinder Smoke, Bottle Boost Sprint, Caustic Overload, Curative Admixture, Cure Critical Wounds. Yeah, a little tongue twister there. Level 5, we have Turned Frog because it's hilarious. Also, this counts as a death effect. So be warned, if you're tossing this around, it will in fact be death warded. So just be careful with that. Flashbang, didn't get a lot of use out of Flashbang, but I have it. In theory, it works. Flash of Gold Mass worked great. Multi-Vial of Flame, of course, your standby. And Greater Evolution. And finally, for my last one, I've got Cured Back 6-year Heal. Elemental Combination, this might seem like a sleeper, but I'll explain why. I took that. Gold Skin, which is amazing, and then Gold Breath. And then I have an empty slot because there was nothing of real value to put in there. So this is sort of a tale of two builds. When you started out, my intention when I did this was that I was going to run fire all the way through. It's going to be a straight fire build all the way up. The problem is that as an alchemist, unlike a sorcerer, fire is just hot garbage. When you start like leveling through the heroic process, it's just trash. You're just gonna not want to try it. It's just too hard to make work. So I switched very early on, maybe like level 3 or 4 even. So we got people fighting in the background, sorry. Hopefully I can, maybe I'll edit that out. So anyway, what's happening is yeah, so at about level 2 or 3, I decided very early on that it was not going to fly for it to try to level through fire all the way through, and I just switched to acid. It's just so much easier for everything. So basically all throughout the heroic levels, it was all spec acid. That's why in some of my spells you're still seeing caustic overload and some of the other acid spells. After that I never needed to use them again. But because basically once you get out of heroics, or once you get to I mean, you still use them somewhat in heroics, but really once you get multi-vial, you just never need any other spell. But even at that point, you still need, once you get the elemental bypass, better to have additional area of effect spells, and it's still better to be using acid. It's just simpler. So that's what happens. And then what happens is, and we'll do the dramatic change here, and once you get to epics, then you switch to fire. And for those of you who haven't seen it, this is the, I believe what they call this, the Dragonborn cape or something, Scarlet Scale Cloak, you know, which is pretty fun. Anyway, it just matched the outfit, so that's why I took it. It doesn't match it all the way because it's silver instead of gold, but whatever. And what happens is once you hit level 20, fire becomes your friend. You totally want to basically spec out. You're going to respec out of your acid. You're going to go straight into fire. And the reason why you want to do that is because there's a lot better synergies with fire when you get to epics than there are with acid. So I'll show you what I mean. Let's start off with the enhancements. So basically, nothing is surprising here. Like, there will be no shocks or surprises in the way that this is broken down, except that maybe you would have done something a little bit different with your spare points. Basically, we got 41 points in the Bombardier tree, so all the cores. Then we want spell-like ability, Vial of Flame, and then all the spell criticals all the way up. I took 2 in 1 Scroll Mastery, Intelligence, Swift Ambition, Burning Ambition, spell-like ability Smoke Bomb, because why not? Then, of course, at the top, Elemental Obliteration. You just go all across the top. Elemental Obliteration, Augmentation, Inferno of Creation, and this is the one that's the key. While your reaction is Pirate, you gain a +1 Burning Ambition die, and your harmful Crimsonite spells will apply a stack of vulnerable to enemies that have been affected by at least 3 elements of Burning Ambition. Okay, that was over here, Burning Ambition. When your reaction is Pirate, your offensive Crimson and Guildleaf spells will ignite your enemies with magic, dealing additional damage. This damage determines the element used and the element of the spell cast. Okay, and then it says it will begins at D4 damage, adding another D4 for each Burning Ambition die that you get from other abilities. This damage scales with spell power. So you get Burning Ambition die in your cores. Conjuration DCs, and of course the big one, which is Weakening Mixture. For now it's fire. When I had it, it was acid up until level 20. When you damage an enemy with a fire spell that is immune to fire, it will become vulnerable for a short... excuse me, I'm tripping over my words. When you damage an enemy with a fire spell that is immune to fire, it makes them vulnerable to fire for a very short period of time. And that is a very short period of time, so you want to be careful with that. And then the rest of this is in the Apothecary tree, because these are going to be basically your yellow spells. So we got all the way up to core 5, so we've got Determination, Alchemical Shield. This is a big one because this is giving you magic missile immunity as long as you're wearing robes. Curical Admixture, Cure Serious Wounds. This is basically going to be your max empowered heal all the way through. Spill the Bad Stuff. This is kind of like Prismatic Spray, basically, except that it will do a random elemental type, but that elemental type does scale with your positive spell power. You don't have to have a whole bunch of different ones. You can just have your positive spell power will affect it. Don't rely on the damage from it, but it does help a little bit. Curative Admixture Heal. Again, this is a spell-like ability, so you can apply all your meta magics to it. It will accept all the meta magics all the time, so this is absolutely your best heal. The only gripe I have with this is that it is poorly marked. I wish that they would change this little icon, this like drip on a bandage or whatever this is, and just change it to look like the actual one you see below it, which is the cross with the thing, because that's the heal. So I found myself clicking on the actual spell heal rather than clicking on the curative admixture heal. Now you want them both because they aren't separate timers, but I found it very confusing. Anyway, that's just me. Maybe other people don't get confused. Energy of the Scholar for maximum spell points. I took this one instead of the other. This is Stone of the Scholar. Stone of the Scholar, Alchemist Stone Toggle. While wielding an orb in your offhand, you gain +10 healing amp and +20 positive spell power. I like that better. The other ones were giving me magical resistance rating, I think it was. So you can get a lot of magical resistance. That being said, add a fairish amount of magical resistance and you do get evasion. So, I mean, or if you don't have evasion, my question would be why? So Hale and Hardy, +10 positive and negative healing amplification. That helps quite a bit. All your positive and negative crits up the line. Panacea Poultice. This doesn't seem like that big of a thing because it's just Panacea, right? But again, it's a spell-like ability, so you can apply all of your abilities to it. And while you're doing that, it also is curing all of your negative effects in one, and it costs 1 spell point, a whopping 1 spell point. So this is a fantastic little heal, and I use that in rotation to get back into my reactions. Um, Safety goggles plus the armor class and plus 6 resistance to fire, cold, acid, and electric damage. And you are immune to blindness. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And then here, um, insulated boots plus 6 magical resistance rating. You are immune to slippery surfaces. So that's pretty handy as well. And then over here, just intelligence, a little more intelligence. And with the last couple points, my one, I think one of these was just the last one was here in Alchemist. Poisoner gives me +2 to saves versus poison, +2 to saves versus diseases, and +2 saves, +2 saves, whatever, I'll take it. Took the dragon for funsies, because why not? And then with the last leftover point, I just took some more spell points. I had 6 racial points, 6 or 7 racial points to put into my halfling tree. None of this is going to synergize. So again, something to overcome fear effects quickly, and then balance, jump, and tumble. Why not? I mean, it's +1 to all saving throws. Luck is great. I'll take saving throws all day, so whatever. It wasn't all that exciting what was going on here, and there's not going to be anything particularly wonderful, so I just skipped it. But again, this is a very straightforward. There's nothing exciting. There's nothing new. There's nothing groundbreaking about this breakdown. That is pretty straightforward stuff. Where it really comes into its own is when you go to your epic destinies, and the reason why you want to go fire is because of Exalted Angel, because this is all fire and light and healing. So that's both of the things that an alchemist is going to be good at. So you can go into Primal Avatar and it does kind of the same things, which is why you see I've got 7 points spent in here. But basically you can say I went all the way up in Exalted Angel simply because it was just straight up better. All these points you see in here, these 22 points I've got spent in Draconic Incarnation, they all happened at the end. I think I didn't even have Daunting Roar or this or Maximize until I hit level 32. So most of this was just filler, to be perfectly honest. Use the Dragon Breath periodically, and it's always nice to have some more saves, but otherwise most of this stuff was really not getting used all that much. The real bang for the buck stuff was happening over here. Probably didn't do this right because I didn't take my capstone. So I'll probably take Heavenly Heavenly Wrath or something. I mean, either of these are fine. So what does this say? If Angelic leap of faith, all enemies near you take. Yeah, I'd probably have just taken the healing jump. So whatever. So that would have been that. I must not have been paying attention when I filled out the last of these trees. But for the sake of completion, I'll show you what I did. Astral Touch. Spell point pool is increased by 10%, deepening faith, and then Angelic Charge, which is also known as Leap of Faith. And I took Subtle Flame, minus 3% spell threat, 30% spell threat. Man, I am just not able to word today. +5 fire, light, positive alignment, and universal spell power. Great, I want all those things. Born Flame, +15 fire and light resistance. You gain 5% fire and light absorption. Didn't have anything else to spend the points in, so why not? Angelic Form. So this is your your mantle. Your offensive spells have a 15% chance to deal d6 plus 6 bonus fire damage per caster level and 15% chance to deal d6 plus 6 bonus light damage per caster level. Your positive healing spells have a 15% chance to deal d3 plus 3 extra positive healing per every 2 character levels. The damage effects each have a cooldown of 5 seconds. So that's just basically, it's almost the same as, I forget what the other one is. It's Inevitable over here. Excuse me, same idea, but fire and light, whereas these ones are only going to be one element specific. I took the Flame Pillar. This actually turned out to be a lot more valuable than I thought, if for no other reason that the cooldown is so much shorter. The Dragon Breath has a 15-second cooldown. This has a 6-second cooldown, so you can be spamming the Flame Pillar all the time, which is what I found myself actually doing. I think I just took this to fill it out. Magical Protection plus 6 magical resistance rating. Angelic Body. While you're an Exalted Angel Epic Destiny Mantle, you are immune to all natural poisons and natural diseases. You already have Poison Blood as an Alchemist, so that's not really a big deal, but being immune to natural diseases is okay. Saving Grace, again, these are fillers to make breakpoints, so I just put 2 points in here to get me +4 to will saves. Purity of Mind and Soul, same idea, +15 positive negative repair amplification. Holy Presence, while in your Exalted Angel Epic Destiny Mantle and Conscious, you and your allies in close range shield for d4 +1 positive hit points per caster level in positive healing every 6 seconds. This scales with 100% positive spell power. This is rad. You want this. You want this so bad. You want this so hard. You can't even imagine how hard you want this. I use this is always, of course, this is basically the reason why I'm always exalted, because every 6 seconds I'm just constantly healing. You can see it ticking even as we go now. You'll see the green numbers suddenly appear above my head. So like, as long as you can run around on circles and stall, you're almost unkillable, even Reaper. And then of course, Mass Cure Moderate Wounds. Again, there are different options here, but heals is heals. The other ones were pretty lackluster, so take the heals because this is a spell-like ability. You can slap every meta magic feat you like on it, and it's all free. Conjuration DCs, because yes. And then up here we go to Holy Command. When you hit enemies with Sun Pillar, Flame Pillar, or Healing Pillar, they will make a will saving throw or be trip blinded and made helpless for 12 seconds. This actually procs significantly more than you might think. I forget what the DC is. It's considered a 3rd level evocation, so there you go. All right, there we go. Back in the saddle. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, what was this one? Angelic Soul. While you're exalted, the Angel Epic Destiny Mantle now grants you +10 magic resistance, rating at 15% damage absorption to all damage types other than piercing, slashing, bludgeoning, negative, positive, repair, and bane untyped. So basically all your elemental types and non-physical types. So there you go. Blood and Radiance, +10 fire, light, positive, alignment, and universal spell power. Great, you want all those things. Up here, Ascendance. I actually didn't ever use these. So I mean, these are what I just chose, but I'll just tell you what they are. You are healed for up to full health. Next 20 seconds, you gain the following traits. You gain a ring of flaming blades around you. Enemies that enter or exit your flaming blades take d6 fire damage and d6 light damage per caster level. This scales with spell power. Allies that enter your ring gain d6 positive healing, which also scales with spell power. Every 2 seconds, you gain d20 plus 20 positive healing per caster level. This scales with positive spell power. Plus 30% action boost bonus to movement speed. Your spells cannot be interrupted. Holy Fireball. This is actually pretty rad. Does a lot more damage than I thought it would. So again, Holy Fireball detonates on impact, causing an explosion of light and flame that deals D3 plus 9 light damage and D3 plus 9 fire damage per caster level to targets in its path. A successful reflex save reduces damage by half. This counts as both a fire and light spell. Doesn't tell you what level it is. And of course, Enhanced Angelic Spells Focus is +3 to all my DCs again. So again, this is the whole thing, but basically this is giving you all kinds of fire and light and positive spell power all at once, which synergizes because now I can double dip over here into Draconic and I get more fire spell power. I get eschew materials, and I believe spell point cost reduction. So that's pretty rad. I took Dragonhind, +6 armor class and fortitude saves. Rank 3, you no longer fail fortitude saves. Draconic Perception, +6 search spot and reflex saves, which is great. 3 of Dragon Breath, pretty straightforward. 2 in Draconic Presence, which is breath weapon DCs just to help out the Dragon Breath a little bit. It is what it is. Just used it mainly to fill these out. And I didn't actually even take these. The only thing, these I took at the very end. The only thing I took out of here was Draconic Spell Focus Transmutation, because you don't get Transmutation over here in Exalted Angel, so I had to take it here. So +3 Transmutation spell DCs, which is great because that's all my crowd control effects. And so the last of it would have been, this is your Nature Heart, which gives me fire, light, and positive universal spell power. Again, synergizes with over here. Spring to Summer. Burst of butterflies forms around the caster, small radius, applying a copy of Rejuvenation Cocoon to all allies. After several seconds, the butterflies burst into flame, causing 2d6 fire damage per caster level. Max caster level 20 to nearby enemies. Damage is halved on a successful reflex save. So that was kind of neat. The Fox of Flame for after we rest, +10 fire spell power, +2 damage with sneak attacks, +3 move silently. I call this the Fox of Happiness. Your mileage may vary. Rejuvenation of Cocoon, of course, as a standard heal that you want in epics. So that's why this played out, because all of these synergize. So you've got 3 trees completely synergizing with you if you take fire. And because you get the bypass out of the 5th tier in your enhancements you don't have to worry about any immunities or resistances or anything else. You can just literally blast away. And it's a very good time. Plus, everything is working. Your heals are all empowered. You've got all kinds of crowd control abilities. It's just a very good time. It's very. I don't know that I don't think I actually died in epics. I think I steamrolled the whole thing without a single death. I got pretty close a couple times. I had a few bad moments. Excuse me. There was a few moments. I think in the Stormhorns, maybe in the Stormhorns where I got low, where I had a champion comes up out of nowhere and pummels me, but it's very, very difficult to actually die. I mean, you have to be kind of working at it, especially like I've got 1,200 hit points. I think it's 1,400 all told when I'm in Reaper mode. And because every 6 seconds I'm going to get like half of that back at least. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to actually get killed. Especially because also, I believe this is one of these, I want to say it's Draconic Hunger. Somewhere in here there was a something, I had another Draconic ability that was restoring, giving me bonus spell points. I forget what that was. So this, yeah. When casting spells that match your Draconic bloodline, you have a 15% chance to gain 10 temporary hit points per character level for the last 10 seconds. So when you start blowing stuff up constantly, which you're always going to be, I was suddenly getting hundreds of temporary spell points as well, and it was just a romp. So that was a very good time. So as a quick review, here's what. Oops, that's not it. So we'll just go quickly through what I was using right up until level cap. Up until I got through to epics, it was a standard Barovian's regalia. So let me see. I don't think I wasn't actually smart enough to take that out of the bank, I don't think. So Crown of Fireflies. This is a very good time. This little item, Healing Lore, Devotion, Insightful Radiance, Mythic Head Boost. Twist Hollow Cloak, obviously. Transmutate, that's your transmutation item. Howl Sphere, this is another one that comes out of Feywild. It's kind of a sleeper, but it is Intelligence 4, Illusory Death, Insightful Nullification, Insightful Impulse. It's a great little item. Barovian Noble's Regalia. Blurfinger Gloves. Summoner Spectacles. I believe somewhere in here I've got the Thrumming Spark, the Burn Scar Sash, I mean. So it looks like this. So it would be Fire and Acid 77, and then Fire and Acid lower 11%. So same idea as this. And then you put this, and Blurfinger Gloves together, and you get the Beacon of Magic set, which is plus 20 artifact bonus to universal spell power, plus 2 to all spell DCs, plus 20 artifact bonus to magical resistance rating. Your magical resistance rating cap is raised by 20, and a plus 2% artifact bonus to missile deflection. Summoner Spectacles, these are your conjuration items. This is where all your conjuration DCs are coming from. Best conjuration item in the game up until epic levels, when you will get the epic version. This is another thing. This comes out of the Wargrave University quests in Lord's March. This is the Fusible Scepter of Corrosion. You're going to want this. This is Acid Lore, Corrosion, Insightful Corrosion, and Conjuration Focus all in one item. Once you hit level 12, you'll use this right up until you hit level cap, or heroic cap at least. That's your spellcasting item. Don't love it. It is your friend. This. Up until level 10, you want this. This comes out of the Feywild as well. This is the Ring of Fall Decay, which is Acid Lore, Corrosion, Void Lore, Nullification, all in one item. And the reason why you want that, and then as well, you want the Queen Scepter, which is your Potency, Insightful Potency, Spell Sight, and Insightful Spell Sight, and then your Spell Focus Mastery, Insightful Spell Focus Mastery, and Spell Penetration, the Queen Scepter and the Princess Scepter, so you want both of those. Failing that, the Crown of Snow is great. This is another one. Cerulean Wave is fantastic, procs all the time. Spell Focus Mastery. This one has a Reaper helmet bonus on it, which is why I kept it for a long time. Plus 2 Reaper bonus to all my ability scores. So I use this for probably longer than I should have, but like some of this is redundant. The Spell Focus Mastery meh, you can get that other places, so it's not really that crucial, but it is nice to have. And the reason why, getting back to why you want the Ring of Falls Decay, is because if you go over and have a look down in here, so this one, the third core here, Curative Admixture Cure Serious Wounds, you don't think much about this at the time when you get it. But it says, oh, you're thinking whatever. But if you read through it, when you get right down to the bottom, it also says, this also grants you the spell-like ability, Curative Admixture Inflict Serious Wounds. And you're thinking, oh, so what? Who cares? I'm not a Pale Master. Who cares about that? Well, you care about that a lot because that's a spell like Inflict Serious Wounds spell, which has unlimited range and will accept all of your meta magics, including Nullification, which scales off of this ring. So your Acid and Void Lore are all covered on that one slot. And if you're using that and you have bumped that up with your Halosphere, which is giving you Intelligence 4 plus Insightful Nullification, then all of a sudden, that's a big deal. And I forget what the DC is on this. What kind of spell? I think this is a conjuration. Don't hold me to that. But all of a sudden, you have a lot of negative spell power at a very low level. That will be level 5 tops. There's also the Sickle of Vile Attunement, which you can pull out of, help me out, Cerulean Hills, I believe it is, quests, which is also a great little item. You get that at level 3. But this admixture, Inflict Serious Wounds, will absolutely wipe out all kinds of things, including Reapers, which are not immune to negative damage, which I did not know but found out. And there are quite a few things that you wouldn't suspect, like constructs, especially the drones seem to be vulnerable to negative damage, and some of the Iron Defenders are vulnerable to negative damage. So that that Inflict Serious Wounds starts wiping things out in droves. It will actually be, until you start getting much more powerful AoE spells through your elements, it will actually be your strongest offensive weapon. And it was my strongest offensive weapon for a significant amount of time. And it still became a useful, it's still, as you can see, it's still in my spell bar rotation because it, even when you stop building around Nullification, it will still be valuable to have in your rotation because it is going to still scale off of your potency, which you will have lots of in levels. So that's something to not sleep on. Again, that is the Inflict Serious Wounds spell-like ability. Now, the only thing to also remember is that they're both separate spell-like abilities, Inflict and Cure Serious Wounds. So if you use one, the other, they're both put on the same timer. So you have to be careful that if you need a heal right away, you might not get it because if you're bombing away with it. So something to keep in mind. But other than that, but yeah, what was I going to show you here? Inventory. All right. So here's the gear loadout I had when I was at level cap. Nothing here is going to be terribly exciting, but there might be a few things that are surprising. So Quiver of Alacrity, which I always have on, put it on at level 1 and forget about it forever. This is a sleeper. The Epic Immaculate Globe. This drops in Saltmarsh and it is part of the Saltmarsh Explorer set. And what this is giving you, and again, another one of these sleeper items, you look at it, kind of you're like, oh, that's not that great. But you have to read the fine print. So +6 orbs bonus, math, they all have that at this level. Permanent Efficacy. It is a +20 alchemical bonus to every spell power. So that's a stacking alchemical bonus to every single spell power that you have, which is huge. So that's your positive, your fire, your negative, whatever it is, you got a bonus to it. It's amazing. Superior Stability, the armor grants a +6 deflection bonus to AC and a +6 resistant bonus to saves after a character with a true neutral alignment. I'm always neutral, so that would affect me, except that those don't stack with any of my other saves, which are much better on other equipment. Elemental Resistance +30. Passive, you're almost impervious to elemental damage, gaining +30 enhancement bonus to acid, cold, electricity, fire, and sonic things. So that's all of your elemental resistances on one slot. And what this does is it prevents you from having to like use wands or dip into Unyielding Sentinel or something else really distasteful. It's just all in one slot. The only other way to make that happen is to have a Draconic Soul Gem slotted somewhere, and you can't slot a Draconic Soul Gem until level 25. So this is just amazing. And because I didn't know what to do with it, I just slotted it with a Ruby of Impulse. But that's an amazing item if you can. I think this drops in the Bullywug quest, but don't hold me to that. Epic Scepter of Combustion. These, you buy these in Borderlands from Morton Edgewright, I think his name is. The dwarf right by the quests. And again, these are the best spellcaster sticks in the game. So Fire Lore 16, Combustion 111, Insightful Combustion plus 55, Insightful Wizardry 97, and I tossed the Ruby of Devotion in there because why not? Because I do have some other items, but the crits on my devotion are not as, I'm not as particular about them, but I would like to have more rather than less. Let's just kind of we'll go around the world here. Ring of Wicked Insanity, plus 10 intelligence, spell saves plus 8, profane well-rounded, profane life force plus 33, mythic ring boost. Pretty straightforward stuff. What I did do is I have the esoteric initiate set, which probably seems strange that I'd be running with an heroic set right up until level cap, but truthfully I couldn't think of anything better. So with jockeying around, what I got was, so you got the Ether Band, spell penetration plus 5, insightful spell penetration, magical efficiency, shield bonus, and mythic boost. So that's why these bonuses for superior stability are redundant. Orders Garb, fortification, physical sheltering, exceptional spell power, exceptional universal spell power, mythic armor boost. This is almost identical to the Barovian's Noble's Regalia, which is like 5 levels earlier. And then the Dusk Lenses, which is potency, insightful potency, efficient metamagic power, and efficient metamagic maximize. There we go. And I slotted it with a Diamond of Concentration plus 13. This is going to be like kind of your supplemental spell power. So it's your potency was going to be giving it. And because of this, I actually had to have my flame concentration, which is my damage over time, is maximized all the time because I have that item. Here's a blast from the past. Halcyon. This drops in the Amrath quests. I forget which one it is. But it is Wisdom 6, Devotion plus 66, Magical Efficiency 5%, which is redundant, Healing Lore 4, that's the old way they counted it, which is a plus 14 equipment bonus to your chance to critical hit. It is plus 11 heal. So that is actually directly boosting both my negative and positive spell powers, and then has a Diamond of Charisma 6 in it because reasons, I don't know. I forget. But this was actually the best overall healing item I could slot at the time. The other option was to use, let's see if I've still got it in my inventory here, was the Epic Mask of Comedy, which is more devotion, more potency, healing lore, and charisma. It doesn't have heal on it though. So the irony is that even though this is a plus 20 item or a level 20 plus item, it's actually less spell power than the Halcyon because the heal plus 11 on it. Just the way the math works out. But this does have 3 Clickies of Good Hope, which is great when you get overrun with Crushing Despair. So that was what I basically wore up until the end. And if you've never seen the, that's what it looks like. In case you've never seen it. There you go. All right. Poison Clasp. Transmutation focus, conjuration focus is 100% of the reason why I'm wearing this, because when you take off your Summoner Spectacles and your Transmuter's Cloak, whatever, the Twist Hollow Cloak, they're actually the 2 best spell focus items for those particular spell schools in the game. So you need to make it up, but this will make both of them up. It's slightly less, but at this point you're getting more stat bonuses, so it's a kind of a wash. Insightful Nullification, Quality Nullification. So that adds up to, what, 80 some odd, 85 additional spell power for your negative. So you're making up a lot of negative spell power quickly. And then it's got the Mythic Neck Boost, and I slotted it with Death Block. Epic Crocodile Tooth. This is doing 100% nothing for me. But I needed a 5th item to complete my Saltmarsh Explorer set, so here we have it. Crippling, armor piercing, accuracy, and insightful accuracy. I think the only thing this was doing for me was the false life. which I slotted and has a diamond of intelligence +9. Meh, doesn't mean anything. Scarlet Scale Cloak, kind of a sleeper, but this does give me breath weapon focus, which helps a little bit with my Dragon Breath when I get into epics, and Insightful Evocation bonus, which is pretty rad, because that will stack. Spell Sight, Quality Constitution. I didn't have either of those things in this build. Spell Sight is surprisingly difficult to slot, and that is spell power. So that's just a flat 12% bonus to your spell sight. If you can find this comes out of Ravenloft. If you can find the legendary version, good for you. I don't have it, so I'm wearing the heroic one. If I had the legendary version, I'd wear that. Belt of Wicked Insanity and Insightful Intelligence, Quality Intelligence, Physical Sheltering 25, False Life 38, and Reaper Enhancement Power +3 Reaper bonus to melee, ranged, and universal spell power. They stack, so this is getting me all of my intelligence. And again, the set bonuses are more valuable than the statistical bonuses I would get for just having a bigger number. So I have other items, like other legendary items that have +13 or +14 bonuses to particular stats. The problem being that when I do that, it breaks one of the sets and I'm actually losing spell power to do that. So that was why I was not swapping these out. Epic Ethereal Ring, which I love. Ghostly, speed 30, dodge 9%, reflex 8, with a topaz of wizardry 195 in it. It's fantastic. Put that on a 20 and forget about it forever. Epic Finger Fingers. Again, this is redundant, but it's nice to have. Fire Lore, Combustion, Evocation 4, which is 100% of why I have this on. Well, actually, it's 50%. Resistance 8, which is fine at this level. Web Immunity, and a Sapphire of Healing Amplification 37, which is slotted in because I couldn't think of anything better. This is just helping me complete my Saltmarsh set, and of course my beloved Epic Crocodile Skin Boots. Constitution 9, Acid Absorption 27, Cold Absorption 27, Freedom of Movement, and Acidic Reaping. While this item is equipped, any cling blows you strike against enemies grant you a 40 acid resistance for 30 seconds. Slaying weaker opponents has a reduced chance to produce this effect. I slapped a Sapphire of Crushing Waveguard in there, and a Diamond of Strike 9, so that's basically covering my physical attributes right there. And that's the entirety of my gear loadout. Again, not terribly thrilling. And just to review the Epic Saltmarsh Explorer set is +20 artifact bonus to physical and magical resistance rating, +10 artifact bonus to melee, ranged, and universal spell power, +2 artifact bonus to all ability scores, and a +20 artifact bonus to positive, negative, and repair amplification. Which is not, I don't think that's really artifact bonus to whatever. Yeah, so it's a little, there's a few overlaps. I think I can't remember if this is all ability scores. Yeah. There's a little bit of overlap with the Esoteric Initiate. But the Esoteric Initiate is giving you the spell DCs and the magical resistance rating cap, whereas this is not. This is giving you amp and whatnot, and the hamp and whatnot. So you could probably live without it. In retrospect, there's probably, yeah, it's not quite as much universal spell power. Yeah, so it's not quite as much universal spell power as the Epic Explorer set, or the Epic Explorer is not as much as the Esoteric Initiate set. This is giving, and the Esoteric Initiate is giving you the spell DCs, which this is not. So it kind of synergizes a little bit, but there is some overlap. And that ran me right up until level cap. It was fantastic. It did not, it was a fairly painless thing. I mean, the process, if you've not run an Alchemist before, is you grind your teeth until level 12 when you get multi-vial, and then you laugh all the way to level cap as you just continually bomb the crap out of everything with multi-vial. There's no real strategy to it. The only other added addition I would make is this. I promised I would talk about it, so now I'm doing it. Elemental Combination. Remember when we said way back, those many minutes ago, excuse me, that's not the right one. This little gem up here. When your reaction is Pirate, you gain a +1 burning ambition die, and your harmful Crimsonite spells will apply a stack of vulnerable to enemies that have been recently affected by at least 3 different elements of burning ambition. And you're thinking, well, that's dumb. How am I going to, I'm always using fire. How am I going to do that? this is how you do that. Elemental combination. Throw a single bomb of a volatile magical concoction that deals an intense combination of poison, fire, cold, acid, and electric damage with 3 effects chosen randomly each time. That is how you're applying the elemental combination. That is how you're getting the different effects of Burning Ambition all at once. This is your ticket to boss killing. You run into the room, you hit all of your spell power boosts, you hit it with elemental combination, you hit it with your concentration to make sure that it's constantly ticking, and then you just bomb away with your red crimsonite, your red, obviously, crimsonite spells with your multi-vial. Every time the multi-vial hits, it's hitting it 4 times, and it's applying again those stacks of vulnerable, so you can get up to a lot of stacks of vulnerable very quickly, and then you just keep it up and running with the flame concentration. As long as you keep your concentration damage over time rolling, and then you remember to continually hit it with the elemental combination to keep stacking, because sometimes because they're choosing the elements at random, you will run into something that's immune to it. Fortunately, that's not the Reapers. I think the Reapers are only immune to the poison, but everything else is going to keep hitting it and do it again and again and again and again, and that will quickly blow things away. It was surprising how fast you can melt through bosses. Now you are going to run into a few bosses that are stubborn. They're just not going to take a lot of damage. You can run into some problems with constructs, like at the very end when I was doing what goes up, like taking out the flame pillars, or the, I should say, what do they call them? The flight pillars, the pillars at the end, that ran into a problem. They were just, it just took forever to grind them down with spells. It just did. So that was a bit frustrating. By the end, Reapers can be a problem because they just absorb so much, and they all have evasion, and it's just frustration to try to bomb through them. So I really wish that multi-vial, especially if they for poison, I wish that they would switch the poisons to be a fortitude save, but that's just a personal gripe. But yeah, there's really not that much excitement to it. Run through your buffs. Always make sure your Greater Evolution Fox is running, because that's a +4 alchemical bonus to your intelligence, which means that you're constantly running at +4 intelligence, which means you're +2 DCs. So you always want the DCs. For the trash mobs, Flash Freeze and Flesh to Gold Mass are your friends. You run into a bunch of mobs. Now, you can do this at range with Glue Bomb, but the strategy doesn't work as well, in my opinion, simply because Glue Bomb is a blue spell, which means that you toss it in. Now you're out of a reaction, so you've got to cycle through to get back into reaction. Now, some people are really good at cycling their reactions. I'm not one of those people. So I found it was much easier to run in, throw a bomb down to the Flash Freeze, everything freezes, and then you just blow the crap out of it. So just a quick review of my feats. There's not much to tell here. Again, very straightforward stuff. Epic spell powers. Epic spell power fire, epic spell power positive, legendary feats, Scion of the Plane of Earth, simply because it was +4 to the DCs of Conjuration and Transmutation, and +2 to the DCs of other spells. Conjuration and Transmutation are your 2 big ones as an Alchemist, so that's why I took it. Acid and Poison spell power, fine. +30 universal spell power to everything else. +15 acid and poison spell crit damage, +10 universal spell crit damage to everything else. It's actually better than fire, ironically, for me, for this build. Crush weakness. This is another thing. You deal 15% more damage versus the helpless. This is for everything. So all damage you do. Like I used to think that this was only like if you were like a melee build or something, but no, it's everything. So you freeze them, and when you flash freeze them or turn them to gold, they're helpless. And so you're immediately doing +15% damage. So that's a huge bonus to your DPS. A big damage reduction, I took that at the end. Intensify spell, obviously. Master spell vials. Don't sleep on this one. It's amazing how much this boosts your damage, because it's giving you 10 additional maximum caster level. So that's your spell vial, concentrated and elemental obliteration. It will not work on multi-vial. Sad to say, it doesn't work. But this will absolutely allow you to do a lot more damage with your less sexy spells. Wellspring of Power does 150 universal spell power and +20 spell critical damage for 30 seconds. You want that. Alchemist feats. Advanced Alchemical Studies Pyrite, Alchemical Spellcasting, Alchemical Studies Pyrite again, Alchemy on the Run. Let's see. Liquid Courage, this is the one that gives you your intelligence to will saves. Liquid Luck, this is what gives you evasion. And then Poison Blood, which is awesome. That's just a granted spell that makes you immune to poisons. Natural poisons, I believe. Eyes of the Reaper, you're looking at those right now. Oops. Man, I'm just doing everything backwards today. I have to do a lot of editing here. All right, there you go. There's the Red Reaper eyes. In case you haven't seen them, I thought it was appropriate for this particular build. Spell casting feats. Just go through those quickly. Mental toughness I took. Meta magics. Accelerate spell. This is the first time I actually took this. I didn't take it until I think level 18, but I did take it, and it does work great. Ironically, you run into situations where when you don't have accelerate spell, you run into throwing things into the ceiling, and when you have accelerate spell, you throw them into the furniture. I found it was like throwing them into tables and chairs and stuff because I was used to lobbing them over top of stuff. But it is a lot of fun. It greatly increases their speed. And it actually, so you're never worried like down hallways and stuff, which was always a problem if something was a long way down a hallway. Just throwing the bomb standard, they'd all go into the ceiling, but with this, they go straight down the hallway and blow the stuff up. So the only reason I took it as late as I did is simply because, one, it wasn't really that pressing, and two, you want to have enough spell points to support it, because it does cost 5 additional spell points to accelerate. And once I had it, everything was always accelerated. Empower healing spell. This is great because now all of your heals will automatically take it, including Rejuvenation Cocoon, which does not take any other forms of meta magic. Power spell, obviously. Heighten spell, because you want your DCs to land. Maximize spell, because you want more damage, and quicken spell, because you don't want to get interrupted. So that's a very straightforward, right down the middle meta magic split. Like, no surprises there at all. I don't think I took any other exciting feats. I think that's it, just spellcasting feats, and that was it. So again, not that terribly groundbreaking. But what was the change up was just the to go, because my standard thing would have been just to go acid all the way through, but fire is absolutely the way to go in epics. Acid is absolutely the way to go in heroics. So you're basically going to split this kind of down the middle. You're going to go 1 to 20 acid and enjoy the ride, and then when you hit 20 and 21, you're going to immediately respect the fire and enjoy the ride from 20 to 30, knowing that it's almost impossible for you to die unless you just do incredible stupidity. But that is my thoughts on that. This video ran a little bit long, so I'm probably going to have to edit it for time. But yeah, that was the breakdown there. So I'm going to be on to my next TR. I still have no idea what that is going to be. I guess you'll find this out if you follow me on my Twitch stream. I do Twitch stream every Monday to Friday, 0930 hours. That is 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until noon. Everyone is, of course, welcome to see me. The only day I'm not playing DDO is when I'm playing Pathfinder currently on Wednesdays, or some other CRPG whenever I finish with Pathfinder. You're welcome to see me then as well. But that's it for now. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope that you have a fantastic day or evening wherever you are, and I will see you all again soon. So take care.